Horizon Gate floated quietly in space. It was a large orbital station, shining silver against the black sky. Ships from many worlds passed through its docks every day. It was a neutral place. Humans and Lyrathi had agreed to meet here after a long war. The station was meant to be a place of peace. Lyrae, the 19-year-old Lyrathi princess, arrived with her honor guard. She had bright violet eyes and silver hair that glowed under the station lights. She wore a ceremonial robe that showed her status, with small, glowing patterns that marked her family line. Her guards were tall, armored beings, ready to protect her at all costs. They moved with smooth, silent steps, scanning the station carefully. The humans waited in the reception hall. The room was large, with high ceilings and bright lights. Tables held refreshments, and small floating drones served drinks. Among the humans was Alex Carter. He was young, 23, with short brown hair and a calm face. He wore a simple uniform, not fancy like the diplomats. He had come to check the station's systems. Nothing more. He did not expect to meet royalty. The hall was full of chatter when the princess and her guards entered. Everyone paused to look. Lyrae moved gracefully, her eyes scanning the room. She expected humans to bow or show fear. Instead, most kept polite smiles. She did not like it. She did not like that humans did not tremble at her presence. A serving drone hovered by her side, carrying a glass of glowing purple liquid. Suddenly, it jolted and spilled a small amount onto the floor. The drink hissed as it touched a metal panel. Sparks flew. Alex saw the danger immediately. He ran forward, pressed a control on his wrist, and shut down the drone. The sparks stopped. He grabbed the glass and put it safely on a table. The hall was quiet now. No one was hurt. The guests looked surprised. Lyrae turned to Alex. She looked at him as if he were nothing. He wore simple clothes. He was not an officer or a diplomat. She smiled slightly, but it was cold. In her language, she said quietly, "These humans think they are useful, but they are only servants in clever skin." Alex froze. The words reached him through the station translator. He understood perfectly. He had been insulted by a princess. The room seemed smaller. He felt surprise, but no anger yet. Instead, he looked at the princess for a moment. Then, calmly, he put away his tools. He stepped back. Without saying a single word, he turned and walked out of the hall. A hush fell over the room. Some humans were confused. The diplomats whispered. The Lyrathi guards looked shocked. A human had ignored the princess. No one had done that before. The way he walked away, calm and controlled, made Lyrae pause. She laughed lightly in front of her guards, but inside, she felt a small prick of unease. Later, in her private chamber, Lyrae's advisor, Silin, approached. He was older, with gray streaks in his hair and a long robe of dark colors. He spoke carefully. "Princess, you may have offended an important human," he said. "His actions are unusual. You must be careful." Lyrae waved him off. She had offended many humans before. They always reacted with fear or anger. On the human side, Captain Laura King watched the security feed. She was a calm woman, with short black hair. She nodded slowly. "Alex did the right thing," she said, "but we must watch how this affects diplomacy." She knew the princess's words could create tension. Alex went to the maintenance bay. It was quiet, filled with tools and screens. He checked the power grids, ran small tests, and made sure everything was working. He decided he would do his job. He would not speak to the princess. She had insulted him, and he would not offer words or attention. This was his choice. Back in her room, Lyrae sat by a large window. Stars stretched across space, bright and silent. She remembered the look in Alex's eyes before he walked away. No fear. No anger. Only calm. She had expected shouts, insults, or pleading. This was different. She frowned. The next day, negotiations began. Humans and Lyrathi met in a large council room. Tables were arranged in a circle. Humans wore neat uniforms. Lyrathi wore their ceremonial robes. Alex was assigned to monitor the station's systems from a small deck above the council. He worked quietly, unseen by most. Lyrae's curiosity grew. She noticed his name on the status panels. She asked her guards, but they shrugged. He is a human engineer, they said. She did not understand why someone so ordinary had access to the station's vital systems. Later, she spoke to Captain Laura King. Laura smiled slightly. He is the young engineer who designed the adaptive shield system. It saved the station once during a pirate attack. He is quiet, but very capable. Lyrae did not like this. She had thought humans were weak. Now she saw that this one human had skill. It did not fit with her belief. She tried to act indifferent, but she found herself thinking about him. In a small accident during the council, a minor power flicker occurred. Lights went out for a second, then returned. Alex saw it and corrected the problem before anyone noticed. Lyrae watched a screen later. He had fixed it with calm, precise movements. Seelan approached Lyrae. Lyrae shook her head. He is only a human. He does not need thanks. Besides, I do not speak to lowly engineers. Yet, in her chest, something stirred. She could not stop thinking about him. His calmness, his skill, his silence after her insult. It confused her. That evening, Lyrae moved through the maintenance corridors. She wanted to see him at work. She expected him to ignore her or act scared. Instead, she found him calmly checking a conduit. She spoke. Good work today. Her voice was formal, but softer than usual. Alex nodded once. Without looking up, he continued working. He spoke only in short phrases about the systems. Never about her. Lyrae tried again. She made a proud remark about humans being sensitive and easily upset. Alex paused, looked at her briefly, then turned and walked away again. He left tools running automatically, finishing the work on his own. She felt a strange anger mixed with confusion. He did not fear her. He did not fight back. He simply did not respond. She had never seen this before. She had expected obedience, or fear, even anger. His silence felt like judgment. Later, the station's AI detected subtle tensions in multiple sectors. The screens showed that Lyrae was thinking about Alex more than she should. It was unusual. The AI noted that the human's calmness was affecting the princess's mood. Alone, Lyrae returned to her chamber. She stood at the window again. Stars shone bright and cold. She remembered Alex walking away. It was simple, but it felt powerful. She did not understand it, and she did not like that she could not forget it. Seelan knocked and entered. Princess, perhaps it is time to consider your actions, he said. Lyrae did not answer. She only stared at the stars. She remembered the way Alex had chosen to act. It was quiet, but it had weight, heavier than any of her guards' swords. That night, Horizon Gate was silent. Ships passed outside, lights blinking against the darkness. Lyrae lay on her bed, thinking of the human who had walked away. She could not sleep easily. He had shown her something without words. Alex slept in the maintenance bay, surrounded by screens and tools. He was tired, but satisfied. The station was stable. The systems were secure. He had done his job. He thought little of the princess now. He had acted with calm, and he knew it was enough for now. The next morning, Ray rose early. She dressed in her ceremonial robe again. She watched the halls where humans and Lyrathi mingled. She wondered if humans were really so simple, or if she had been wrong. She did not answer her own question. She only watched. Part 1 ends with Ray looking out at the stars, uneasy and thoughtful. A human had walked away from a princess's insult, and it had changed something inside her. She did not know what, but she knew she could not ignore it. The morning after the reception, Horizon Gate was busy. Humans and Lyrathi moved through the halls, speaking in different languages. Machines hummed quietly in the background, keeping the station running smoothly. Alex Carter moved along the upper deck, checking energy flows and environmental controls. He was quiet, focused, and unseen by most people. Ray watched him again. She had not stopped thinking about the human who had ignored her insult. She noticed his name on the status panels. Alex Carter, human engineer. Young, calm, skilled. She asked one of her guards quietly. He monitors the systems, Princess. He designed some important modules, the guard said. Ray frowned. She had expected humans to be simple, servants, weak, or easily scared. And this one, he seemed different. She decided she would watch him more closely, though she would not admit it. Pride made it hard for her to show interest. During a tour of the station, Ray walked with Captain Laura King. They passed many rooms with blinking panels and floating tools. Ray tried to hide her curiosity. She asked, "The human engineer? Alex Carter. Why does he have access to all these systems?" Laura smiled slightly. He built the adaptive shield overlays. They saved the station once during a pirate attack. He is quiet, but very capable. Ray's pride flared. She had assumed humans were beneath her. Now she saw one with skill and authority over vital systems. It did not fit her beliefs. She tried to act bored, looking out of a window, but her mind kept returning to him. Later, a minor glitch happened. The gravity in one section of the station flickered for a moment. Ray's guards were startled. A few items floated, and the lights dimmed briefly. No one was hurt, but the guests noticed. Alex saw the problem immediately. He adjusted energy flows and stabilized the gravity. It was done so quickly that few people even realized anything had happened. The station's logs showed that he had acted fast and precisely. Ray watched a recording later. He moved calmly, fixing the problem without hesitation or fear. Silen, her advisor, noticed Ray's attention on Alex. He said carefully, "Princess, perhaps you should speak to him. Offer thanks." Ray shook her head. "He is only a human. He does not need thanks. And I will not speak to someone beneath my station." But she could not stop thinking about him. His calmness, his skill, his silence. After her insult, it confused her. She had never met a human like this before. That evening, she moved through the maintenance corridors, pretending to inspect panels. She expected to find them empty. Instead, Alex was there, checking conduits and screens. She spoke softly. "Good work today." Alex nodded, without looking at her. Ray tried again. She made a proud remark about humans being sensitive and weak. Alex paused, looked at her briefly, then turned and walked away again. He left his tools running automatically, finishing the work on his own. Ray felt a strange mixture of anger and confusion. He did not fear her. He did not argue. He simply refused to respond. It was not what she expected from a human. It felt powerful. Later, she spoke to Captain Laura King again. "Why does he not fear me? Why does he ignore my words?" "Cretius. End of it," Laura replied calmly. "He respects his work. He does not give attention to insults. It is his choice. Humans are not easily controlled by pride alone. Liray frowned. She had been taught to control others with status, with words, with presence. Alex's silence made her feel weak in a way she did not understand. The next day, small tensions began in the station's systems. Sensors showed unusual energy readings. Alarms in minor sectors blinked briefly, then stopped. No one noticed, except Alex. He monitored the changes quietly, logging every small variation. Liray continued her tours, but she could not focus. She kept thinking about Alex. She tried to ignore him, but she found herself seeking out the corridors where he worked. One afternoon, Liray's brother, Prince Kale, contacted her through a private channel. His voice was sharp. Liray, remember, humans are weak. You must keep them uncertain. Insult them if you need. It is how we control them. Liray repeated some of his words silently, but they felt empty. She could not stop thinking about Alex's calm reaction. He had not responded, but he had not faltered. He had done his work, protected the station, and walked away. That evening, a small systems alert triggered. Lights flickered in a hallway near the Lyrathi guest wing. Liray almost fell, as gravity shifted slightly, but the adaptive stabilizers kicked in. She saw Alex's name on the control logs. He had already fixed the problem, without anyone noticing. She was fascinated and frustrated at the same time. A human had saved her from harm without asking for recognition. He had not bowed, not apologized, not even spoken to her directly. His choice to act and not react to her pride was strange and unsettling. Silen noticed her focus on Alex. He approached carefully. Princess, your attention to a human engineer is unusual. Perhaps it is time to consider your actions. Liray looked away. He is only a human, she said. But the words sounded weak even to her. She could not stop thinking about him. His skill, his calmness, his silence after she insulted him. It stayed with her like a quiet weight. The next morning, Liray decided to watch Alex work more closely. She followed him into a maintenance corridor. He was checking a conduit, making small adjustments to maintain stable energy flow. She tried to speak. Are the systems ready for the council? She asked. Alex nodded briefly. Yes, Princess. Everything is stable. He did not speak more. He did not look at her for long. He simply continued his work, precise and focused. Liray tried to act indifferent, but she found herself lingering nearby, watching his hands move over panels and displays. She realized she had never seen a human work like this. He was calm, methodical, and completely in control. Later, she spoke again, trying to test him. Humans are weak, sensitive creatures, she said. Alex paused, looked at her briefly, then turned and walked away again. The tools he had been using continued automatically. He left, without arguing, without fear, without prideful words. Liray felt something stir inside her. He had not responded to her insult, but he had not ignored his duty. He had acted correctly, calmly, without pride or fear. She had expected anger or flattery, but he had done neither. Alone in her chamber, she stared at the stars again. The human had walked away from a princess's insult. He had not been afraid. He had not been impressed. He had only acted. It was a strange, powerful lesson. The station continued its operations. Humans and Lyrathi moved carefully in their sectors. Alex monitored every system, watching for errors. He noticed small discrepancies in energy readings. Minor anomalies, almost nothing, but enough to raise suspicion. He logged everything quietly. Liray could not stop thinking about him. She realized that humans might not be as simple as she had been taught. One human, in silence, had challenged everything she believed about strength, pride, and control. The part ended with Horizon Gate calm in the night cycle. Ships glided past, and lights shone faintly in the corridors. Alex rested for a short time, checking the systems quietly. Lyrae stood by a large window, gazing at the stars. She could not shake the thought of the human who had walked away from her insult and left her unsettled. It was a small event in the busy station, but it would mark the beginning of something larger. Lyrae's pride and curiosity were now caught in a quiet struggle with respect, skill, and the silent power of a human. She did not know it yet. But this small challenge would grow into a test neither species expected. The Horizon Gate was quiet in the early morning. But beneath the calm, something dangerous stirred. A group of extremists had secretly boarded the station. They did not want humans and Lyrathi to cooperate. They wanted the peace talks to fail. Among them were both humans and Lyrathi who had their own reasons for anger and fear. They carried small devices and virus modules designed to disrupt the station's systems. Their goal was to cause a crisis and blame the other side. If successful, they could start a new war. Alex Carter was in his usual monitoring post on the upper deck. He noticed unusual patterns in the energy flow and environmental controls. Numbers were slightly off. Readings were precise, but wrong. He ran diagnostics quickly. The results showed small anomalies spreading through the station network. He flagged them to security, but the officers dismissed it. Probably just a minor glitch, one said. Alex did not argue. He knew small problems could become dangerous quickly, especially on a station this size. He continued monitoring quietly. The council was in session. Humans and Lyrathi sat at the round tables, speaking carefully, trying to show cooperation. Lyrae watched the humans with polite interest, still thinking about Alex and his calmness. Then the lights flickered. Gravity surged in a dining corridor. Dishes floated, and drinks spun in the air. People grabbed tables and walls to keep from falling. Alarms began to ring. Emergency systems activated. Some doors sealed automatically, trapping people in sections. Life support flickered in parts of the station. Alex immediately understood. This was not a normal glitch. He accessed control panels and traced the irregularities. Someone had uploaded a virus to attack multiple systems at once. He moved through his monitoring consoles quickly, isolating sections, rerouting power, and blocking the virus. His fingers moved with precision, calm, and focused. In the chaos, a group of extremists broke into the Lyrathi guest wing. They intended to capture Lyrae and blame humans for the attack. The princess and her guards tried to fight them, but the attackers had devices that jammed communication and slowed doors. Lyrae found herself pressed against a corridor wall. Silen, her advisor, was beside her, and one guard was wounded. She realized they were outmatched, at least in that moment. Fear flickered inside her. She had never been so close to danger. Alex noticed strange energy spikes in the Lyrathi wing. He studied the readings and understood immediately what was happening. Without hesitation, he moved to the nearest maintenance shaft. The route was risky. Not designed for human traffic, but it was the fastest way to reach the guests. He dropped down from the shaft into the corridor, landing with controlled force. An extremist raised a weapon, but Alex knocked it aside with a quick movement of his arm. He moved efficiently, using tools and environmental objects, not brute force. He forced the attackers back down the corridor, controlling the small space with calm skill. Lyrae pressed herself against the wall, watching. She had expected humans to be weak, frightened, or rude. This one was none of those things. He did not shout. He did not seek glory. He acted to protect lives. The attackers tried to regroup, but Alex used a localized gravity pulse from a portable device. The attackers fell, struggling against the sudden force. Alex moved to secure the corridor, checking each door and panel to ensure safety. Liray's heart raced. She had never felt fear like this. She had expected to be safe because of her rank, her guards, her weapons. But here, a human engineer was saving her life. He had acted without hesitation, without fear, without expectation of reward. Once the attackers were disabled, Alex turned to check on the wounded guard first. Then he looked at Liray, assessing if she was able to move. She nodded, but she was shaking. He did not speak kind words. He simply said, "We need to get everyone to safe zones. Follow me." He did not wait for thanks. He did not bow. He did not act proud. He simply led the way, checking doors and panels as he moved. Liray followed, still in disbelief at the calm efficiency of the human who had ignored her insult. The extremists had planted devices across other decks, but Alex quickly mapped the anomalies. He sent instructions over comms to security teams, redirecting personnel to intercept intruders and avoid danger. He stayed focused, watching for any unexpected changes. Liray realized that she had been wrong about humans. They were not weak or simple. This human had risked himself to protect lives, including hers, without hesitation. He had shown strength in silence, skill in action, and courage without seeking attention. After hours of careful work, the extremists were captured or incapacitated. Security teams followed Alex's guidance precisely. The station's system stabilized, the virus was contained, and emergency protocols returned the station to normal. Liray finally had a quiet moment. She looked at Alex, standing in the middle of a corridor, calm, tired, but steady. She wanted to speak. She wanted to apologize, to say she was wrong about him, about humans. But he simply turned back to his controls, checking panels and reading screens. Her throat tightened. She spoke softly, almost to herself. "I was wrong." Alex paused for a brief second, then continued. He did not ask for thanks. He did not look at her. He had a job to finish. That was all that mattered. She realized that the human had taught her something greater than words could convey. He had chosen his actions over pride, his duty over insult, his skill over fear. He had shown that true strength did not come from rank or ceremony, but from choice, calm, and courage. Later, Liray spoke to Sillin privately. "Princess," he said carefully, "the human, Alex Carter. He acted in a way no guard, no soldier, no royal could have predicted. You must understand that humans have their own form of power." She nodded slowly. She understood, but she did not yet know how to act on this new knowledge. The station had survived, but she had seen a side of humans that her pride and her culture had not taught her. Alex continued his monitoring late into the night. He checked life support, energy systems, and gravity stabilizers. The station was stable, but he knew that one mistake could cause disaster. He worked quietly, without complaint, without attention, without pride. Liray stayed in her chamber, thinking. She could not stop remembering the calm way he had faced danger. She had insulted him once, expecting him to react with fear, anger, or submission. Instead, he had acted silently, effectively, and bravely. The next day, the council resumed. Humans and Lyrathi met again, cautiously polite. Lyray's pride was tempered by the memory of Alex's actions. She noticed small ways he influenced events, suggesting safer routes for personnel, adjusting minor systems, quietly keeping the station safe without recognition. She began to see that strength could exist in unexpected forms. The station had been saved not by weapons or threats, but by quiet, skilled, and careful action. Alex had shown her that power could be calm, deliberate, and unassuming. That night, Liray stood by a window, looking at the stars. Horizon Gate floated silently, peaceful, for now. She thought of Alex Carter, the human engineer who had walked away from her insult and then risked his life to protect hers and the lives of everyone on the station. She realized that humans were not tools, not servants, not weak creatures. They had their own kind of power. And one human, in particular, had shown her the meaning of courage, discipline, and calm strength. The part ended with Lorraine standing silently in the glow of the observation deck. The station hummed with life, and for the first time, she questioned her pride. A human had changed her view of strength, of duty, and of respect, and she knew she would not forget it. Horizon Gate remained a bridge between worlds, fragile and complex. At its heart, a quiet human and a young princess faced the future, both learning from the events that had tested courage, patience, and choice.